Hello everyone and welcome to the Smashy Business Show. Today is Wednesday, 2nd of July 2025. I'm Abdul Majid Awan.
And I'm Ward Ahmed, and we've got a packed show for you today. Firstly, we're discussing how Saudi Arabia's public investment fund has crossed $1 trillion in assets. However, its net profit also slumped over 50%. And in a historic move, Trump has finally signed the executive order lifting sanctions on Syria. The White House has confirmed. And in this extremely interesting turn, Egyptian billionaire Naguib Sawiris denies ownership of the company linked to the deadly minibus crash in Egypt, which some people blamed him for. And finally, we're going to be discussing how the Saudi startup Ninja has joined the kingdom's unicorn club after a $250 million funding round.
And if you're a marketer or a founder looking for next growth unlock, Yango Ads has just dropped Points of Growth, a podcast that explores exactly that. Whether you're in tourism, fashion, apps, or auto, this podcast dives into real-life strategies to help you scale. It's brought to you by the expert at Yango Ads, who operate in over 30 countries and deliver data-driven ad solutions with 600-plus advanced targeting tools. Each episode offers tactical advice from entering new markets to supercharging your campaigns with AI. Because business growth isn't a mystery, it's marketing done right. Search Points of Growth wherever you get your podcasts, listening platforms, viewing platforms, they're there. And the very first story obviously is very big. Yes, Vit.
Firstly, we're going to be discussing how Saudi Arabia has crossed $1 trillion in assets, and the reason why this is such a big thing is because over time they've just continued expanding.
Yeah, and Saudi PIF, let me just open the story quickly. $1 trillion in assets. They published a whole report about it, and everything was in it. The funny thing is that they've earned more money, but the problem is that they've gotten less money out of it. So apparently the whole amount, if you calculate it in Saudi riyals, is 4.321 trillion riyals, which equals to $1.15 trillion. And that was last year, 2024 numbers. And it's up 18% from the previous year. So the last year, we always said it's nearly $1 trillion. It's nearly $1 trillion. And the number that was floated around by everyone was 925 billion. But it's nearly $1 trillion. But then now, finally, it is a $1 trillion giant. The profits, however, they earned $34.5 billion. That's not a small amount. The only problem was that their net profit out of this $34 billion went down 60-ish%, and they only earned in net profit in complete, apart from all the taxes and everything that they took aside, $7 billion was the net profit for all the assets under them. So that's not a concern, because it's not just because they were not doing good. It's a lot of things. Oil went down. We saw so many problems.
And the
in
Neon
Middle East.
project, the
project
fact
has to
that
be scaled down.
It's now worth, I believe, $8 trillion, according to the recent reports that were released.
Yeah.
So it does make sense. But I think for me, when I take a look at this, Majid, it's so interesting because when you take a look at Saudi Arabia and its public investment fund, which is led by Al Rumayyan, you have this one figure that is standing, and that is the figure that everyone looks up to. Yeah. But then when you compare it to the UAE, where they have multiple sovereign wealth funds that are all dictated towards a specific factor. It's not just one sovereign wealth fund that is taking the lead, but it's multiple of them. For example, you have Abu Dhabi Investment Authority that is worth $1 trillion, and
it's more than $1 trillion now. I think it's nearly 1.3 trillion now.
And
gone up so much.
That I believe
Yeah.
is it's a part of like government-led projects, and then you also have a fund like MGX and Mubadala, and these specific funds are more directed towards artificial intelligence, and for me that does stand out because they've created a fund quite literally for every single cause that they're trying to improve in the country. Whereas for Saudi, it is this one figure that is standing extremely tall and taking the lead.
And Worth is very true about it, because when you come to UAE, there's so many big sovereign wealth funds that we see. She mentioned ADIA, she mentioned Mubadala, we have ADQ, we have Dubai Holding, not Dubai Holdings, Dubai something. So there's one in Dubai. It's such a big network of sovereign wealth funds. It's not just PIF doing everything. So with that, the problem with only one sovereign wealth fund is that if it goes bad overall for them. But here they've diversified their assets in sovereign wealth funds also. So it's very strategic, it's very nice, and I think Saudi Public Investment Fund would maybe come up with one or more investment funds. I think it's because of the geography as well, because we have 7 emirates, we have 7 rulers, and then we have the federal government, which is like the UAE government, and then we have federal ministers. In Saudi Arabia, it's a country which is ruled by one person, the king right now, and then we have the Saudi crown prince.
That is a really interesting point, Majid, that you put forward.
That is why I think UAE, in every sense, you call it tourism, you call it sovereign wealth fund base, you call it everything. UAE is one of the most unique setups in terms of country, in terms of emirates in the world. That is why I think they have been so successful over the years, because every emirate has their own strength. Dubai has very big on tourism.
But you know what, Majid, you just mentioned how Saudi Arabia is only ruled by one person. But if you actually take a look at it and who rules most of these sovereign wealth funds and who it's chaired by, it's His Highness Sheikh Tahnoon, who is overlooking every single company.
ADIA are under him. Mubadala is chaired by Khaldun Al-Mubarak. But yeah, she's right that there's a royal at the up and topmost position. But again, they're diversified in assets. ADIA has a very different focus from ADQ. ADQ is more transport, logistics. ADQ took over Aramix also, majority of the shares they bought it. You said Mubadala is very tech-based. Khaldun Al-Mubarak is very big on AI. He himself said that I don't take a board decision without the AI thing present.
But you know what it also could be, Majid? Like much more than the monarchy, the rulers coming into place. It could just be a strategy that they're leading. And I think when it comes to everything, if you nitpick a specific group of people for something that they're all capable of, then they'll do a great job at it, because you will notice that every single one of these leaders, they have something specific that they spearhead. And I think that when your arms are not stretched out too much, you can do a better job at it.
Yeah, so PIF is 1 trillion now. ADIA was already 1 trillion. They're about 1.3 trillion. The last numbers that I read, Abu Dhabi right now has nearly 1.8 trillion in sovereign wealth fund. So it's the richest city in the world. It beat Oslo basically. But again, the funny thing about Oslo's sovereign wealth fund from Norway is the country, Oslo is the city, that is, there is only one sovereign wealth fund which is big. So Oslo was always the richest city on the base of one sovereign wealth fund. Abu Dhabi is the richest city on the basis of 4 sovereign wealth funds that they have. So it's a very nice combination. I hope this continues and Abu Dhabi stays the capital of capital in 2025 as well, and for years to come.
But just speaking about Oslo and on the topic of Europe in general, Majid, and how just very recently I saw this speech that was I believe by the head of NATO, and how for all of these countries they're basically going to use 5% of their GDP to invest into their country defenses, and it's just so interesting to see that dynamic. And there was this journalist that I was listening to, and he was basically saying how for these countries, these European countries that are now going to use 5% of their GDP to invest in defenses. Basically, 3% of it is going to go into like normal defenses. 1.5% of it is going to go, I believe, into like cybersecurity.
Okay.
And they were basically saying how, the difference between that money, those billions and those trillions that are going to go into this, is basically the difference between the 1990s and the 3000 BCs.
Yeah.
And when you really think about it and you really deep it, it's crazy. And it's like, why are they going to spend all this money into strengthening their defenses?
Yeah.
It has to do with what is going on in the Middle East. There are so many changes that is going on, and I believe one of the largest ones right now is the fact that in such a dramatic shift, President Donald Trump has finally signed the executive order officially ending American sanctions on Syria. And this is completely big, and it's funny how it comes just right after he visited the Gulf.
And the move comes in the wake of Bashar al-Assad's ouster by Islamist-led rebels. Ahmad al-Shara, as we all know, is the leader, but de facto leader. There will be elections someday, but right now it's all about finding consistency and stability in the country. And he is doing a good job, to be honest. Somehow he managed to be a part of Trump's historic visit. He was there. He flew in. He just met him for 5 minutes. If you're looking at it on some screen, you can see the pictures of him meeting Trump. The whole thing was carried out thanks to Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. He made it possible, and Syria's Ahmad al-Shara was there. So now, since officially the order has been signed, it revokes the 2004 National Emergency Declaration on Syria and terminates all related executive sanctions. It also calls for waivers on export controls and other economic restrictions, signaling a full-scale rollback of the U.S. sanctions program on Damascus.
And, Syria's new president, Ahmed al-Shara, and, Foreign Minister Assad al-Shabani, they welcomed this decision, calling it a turning point for national rebuilding and international cooperation. Now, the order allows humanitarian groups, investors, and multilateral institutions to legally engage with Syrian entities, potentially unlocking billions of dollars for reconstruction.
And while the Caesar Act and other congressional sanctions technically remain in place, the White House says it is reviewing suspension criteria tied to those laws. Trump's move follows Europe's decision to lift its sanctions. We talk about it, that Europe took the first step and then Trump followed, and comes as Congress debates a full repeal of remaining legislative restrictions.
Now, the administration will also reassess Syria's designation as a state sponsor of terrorism and review group designations, including Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, and tied to Syria's new leadership. Now, the U.S. Treasury has already issued a general license permitting transactions with the Syrian central bank and state-owned firms. But with this specific story, like Majid, did you ever wonder to yourself, why is Trump, in general, why is the U.S. turning an eye to these, to Bilad al-Sham, so to the Levantine countries? Because it's not just Syria, by the way. Like, I was watching this speech where he was like, oh, like, we love the Lebanese people. And I'm like, okay, this is random. Like, why do you love the Lebanese people out of nowhere? And this is why I specifically mentioned NATO to you, because France is a part of it. But you know what it actually is? Basically, in Lebanon, they are actually one of the largest gas exporters in the world. They have a lot of gas in that country. And the reason why, Majid, France also loves Lebanon so much is because the person who earns the most money and the country that earns the most money is the country that extracts that gas.
Yeah.
And for the longest time ever, it's been France. It's been France, and the Lebanese government is doing nothing about it. So if you become the person to extract that gas, you earn the most money. So that is why Trump, out of nowhere, is so interested and loves the Lebanese people, because they want to be the people to extract that gas. And do you know what would happen then?
He wants the contracts, basically.
Exactly. And do you know what would actually happen then? The third largest gas exporter in the world, after Russia, after Qatar, would become Lebanon at a deal that would be valued at over $100 billion. So this is why, out of nowhere, I don't think that it's just Crown Prince Salman. He's certainly played an extremely important role in pushing Trump to lift Syria's sanctions.
Yeah.
But I also think it's the fact that there are so many business deals that can happen in that region. You know, they have Lebanon that's also there, so they definitely wanna get a foot ahead with with becoming a part of that entire process.
The funny thing about all of this is, and it's very interesting, that there is an example that has been set in the world for all of this, and that's the African region. And the African region throughout history has been exploited for not only its sources, natural earth sources, the minerals that they have, they've been exploited for cheap labor and all of that. What happened was that they didn't know how to do it. So they hired Westerners and they came and they exploited all their reserves of everything that they had. And we see African situation right now. A lot of African countries, when you look at it, you Google any African country, which is like a little third world in the African world, and you'll see there's no food to eat. You'll see pictures of kids dying of hunger and all those horrible things. The only thing that Africa now is doing is they have realized that power, and they are extracting their own. Their first of all, some of the African countries, they invested in human capital. So they made their younger generation learn everything. Maybe in the country, maybe outside the country, they made them educated. So they developed a human capital, and now due to that human capital, like engineers, doctors, and all kinds of petrochemical engineers, minerals engineers, now they have the ability to extract all of that themselves and sell it to the world. And that is why you see that Africa is moving towards a shift. You see any conference in Dubai, the season will start in July, August start. You see any conference, there will be a dedicated speaker session, a panel session, or a whole day dedicated to Africa. Why? Because they've realized their worth. And now they're going to the world and marketing themselves that now we know how to do it. So buy it from us.
Yeah, and the Egyptians certainly have realized their worth here.
That exact formula they're trying to apply to the Middle Eastern countries which are coming out of conflicts and dictatorships of so long, like Bashar al-Assad. The only good thing that Syria right now can do is not just get used. They should also use the other party. So if America, if Europe, if anyone is coming to extract or get the gas reserves, or they're targeting anything from Syria,
Majid? I completely agree with you.
yeah, they should get something in back. And what I've seen with Emil al-Shara right now in the start, I think it's a good time for him to set a boundary, to set parameters that, okay, I'll build a Trump Tower, I'll give you access to my gas reserves, I'll give you this. These are the things that I need in return. These are the guarantees. He needs to put a step forward also. He just can't sit back on and think that they're doing it from the good of their heart. And I think he is that kind of a leader. The way at very last minute he somehow met Trump, because we saw the whole fiasco. It was reported constantly that there is a chance he may go. There was zero confirmation.
And before they even met, you know, it was reported by Reuters that they want a Trump Tower in Damascus. And you're right, honestly, that is a sign of a very smart leader.
With Emil al-Shara doing this, if they're going to Lebanon next, Lebanese President Joseph Aoun, he's invited Musk to come to the country, visit the country, and then eventually set up a Starlink system there. All these new leaders of the conflict-stricken countries, they should realize that they have not 1, 2, 3, 4 steps that they can take in front and demand their rightful things in return. If they don't do it, you know what will happen. It's historically written through like years and decades of data and research that West has a habit of coming and walloping all over your resources and sitting and enjoying all the money, and what the actual person at the end of the day gets is nothing. So they just need to realize, and I think it's a very good chance for them because they have developed countries in their neighborhood. UAE, Saudi Arabia, Egypt to an extent has, the economy is bad, but they have good systems where they understand what to give and what to take. So they can take help from them. Qatar is very, very invested into Lebanon, Syria, we've seen.
Both of them.
So they
Saudi
can
and
provide
Qatar.
their diplomatic expertise, and all these conflict areas can obviously
but you know
leverage
what
their
it-
sources, but get something in
You know
return.
what it also is with Ahmed al-Shara is not all Syrians are completely
Yeah.
sure of him and what his plan is for the country due to his very interesting past. And he's still interim president, so we'll definitely see what's going to happen
Yeah.
next. But just speaking about countries, so it's really interesting is that specifically from Egypt, billionaire Naguib Sawiris, a part of the richest family in Africa, in Egypt, is basically being blamed for the tragic minibus crash that killed 19 people, mostly teenage girls, north of Cairo this Friday. So the accident sparked public outrage and speculation about Arrescom, Sawiris' family business in the local road safety.
And the girls aged between 14 and 20 were farm workers on their way to harvest grapes, earning less than $3 a day. The crash occurred in Beheira Governorate on a notorious stretch known locally as the Highway of Death, part of a $403 million road network with an average of 10 crashes reported daily.
Yeah, so social media users questioned if Arrescom Construction specifically was responsible for the road, which actually prompted Sawiris to respond on X, and he stated, "I don't own a single share in Arrescom Construction. It belongs to my brother," throwing him under the bus. But he did emphasize that even then, the tragic incident has nothing to do with the company.
And investigations revealed the truck driver involved was under the influence when he crossed into oncoming traffic, leading to the fatal crash. The incident has reignited concerns over road safety and infrastructure in the Nile Delta region.
So the Sawiris family, Egypt's wealthiest, controls a broad business empire. So Naguib Sawiris founded Arrescom Telecom and actually sold it in a $6.5 billion deal to a Russian company, I believe Vimpelcom, in 2011. And in 2025, he sold his entire remaining stake in Arrescom Construction to his brother Nassif for nearly $9 million, further clarifying the ownership.
It's just, it's good. To be honest, I sometimes think that all these billionaires and millionaires and the richest people being on social media is good, because there was a time when you would go to the PR and marketing companies and ask for a clarification. Now Naguib is like, okay, I'll clarify.
No, but
I don't own anything.
By the way,
in that.
You know that the tweet that basically, first of all, the entire incident, it is so
Yeah, very
unfortunate.
tragic, very
if
sad.
if you take a look at the car, it is so sad that these like over 17 girls were in this car and they're about to go harvest grapes for a day for $3, and then something like this happens. But you know, just to go into the Sawiris family, Arrescom, the entire company, was founded by their father Ansi. And he had 3 sons, and these 3 sons, I believe the business was divided between them. You know, you have Naguib, who is leading telecom, and then you have what's it called? You have Nassif, who is leading construction. And I think what's even more interesting about this, Majid, is the fact that, by the way, Nassif also runs a global nitrogen fertilizer production
multiple
company.
Businesses.
He's the richest from the brothers.
Some of the businesses you won't even know about because they're boring businesses. They're not flashy. They're not in your face on social media. He owns nearly 6% of Adidas all over the world. Nassif Sawiris. That is why he's the richest. Remember, we did a story where he moved his domicile from UK to Italy, and I was reading that story, and I was surprised that he owns 6% of Adidas, the whole Adidas as a whole, not MENA region, not Egypt, not the whole of Adidas. He owns 6% of the stake in that. So imagine the wealth he has. He's invested in football clubs. He's so invested everywhere. So yeah, Nassif is the most richest one.
And by the way, Nassif and Naguib, I like when you actually search the brothers up, and this is how strong their brand is, where every single one of them, you know, they're equally important. They're never pictured together, by the way. They're never pictured together online. And, you know, you have Naguib, who just like last year in November, he decided to launch a media company here, Monify. So I think it's a fact that, you know, the brothers, they're doing so well for themselves from what their father has built due to how they've diversified their business. Honestly, I think this is a great example of Nepo babies gone well. Like, it has gone so well for them. No, because they're all extremely smart. They've diversified the business in an extremely good way. But I think for me, what really made me laugh is the fact that he was so honest. He was like, this has nothing to do with me. I don't own a share in a Rescom Construction. It belongs to my brother. You guys go and ask him. The tweet,
he was passing the ball to his brother. Now go defend yourself.
Imagine the tweet had 160K views.
But yeah, the most interesting thing is it happened. It's a very sad incident. Someone needs to take responsibility. We always talk about MENA region. We always talk about Saudi, UAE, but Egyptian stories we need to talk about more. And this is one of the Egyptian stories where a big company is involved in the construction and everything, and someone will take responsibility, I think,
and by
eventually.
the way, Naguib actually also added that why are people blaming the Minister of Construction in Egypt? You know, he should not be blamed for this incident. It should be the truck driver that is specifically blamed for the incident. But it's interesting how he weighed in, and then because he weighed in on the matter, he immediately got blamed for it and was asked if he is a part of it. But, you know, just to end things on a really good note, a very famous Saudi-based commerce startup, Ninja, has officially reached unicorn status following a $250 million funding round led by Riyadh Capital. So the latest investment values the 3-year-old company, pay attention to this, 3-year-old company at $1.5 billion.
And founded in 2022 by Ibrahim Al-Jasim, also known for founding Hunger Station, which is a very big food delivery. And basically they do food delivery, but now they've delved into all other deliveries alongside Saud Al-Qahtani and Canberg Donmiz. So Ninja operates across Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Qatar and Kuwait. Hopefully soon we'll see them in UAE also, because that's the next logical step. But the startup offers rapid delivery of products ranging from groceries to pet supplies, and that's why it's in the Q-commerce, quick commerce category.
So this milestone, it highlights the growing momentum in Saudi Arabia's consumer tech sector. So if we go a little bit into Riyadh Capital, the firm that has invested into them and led this funding round. So the firm is actually also an early backer of Foodix and Uniphonic, and launched the Riyadh Taqniya Fund in 2016, one of the kingdom's first venture capital initiatives.
Ninja plans to pursue an initial public offering by 2027. That was Bloomberg reporting it previously. The report also said that they will raise an IPO at $1 billion. And finally, with this funding, they're actually $1.5 billion now. The startup is poised to join other Saudi tech companies on the public listing, reflecting increased investor confidence in the kingdom's startup ecosystem.
And, you know, Saudi Arabia's growing list of unicorns includes fintech giants such as STC Pay, Jahez, Tabi, Tamara, and Insurtech firm Rahman. And these companies represent key sectors, you know, all over the kingdom. But, you know, just taking a look at this founder-led story, let's talk about it. You know, Ibrahim Al-Jasim. You know why what's it called? When I was writing the story, guys, I decided to hero him, and Majid was like, no, we got to be fair. It was founded by all three of them, which is true. But for me, I find Ibrahim Al-Jasim particularly interesting because he is also the founder of this company called Hunger Station. And Hunger Station was founded in, I believe, 2012. And what is so interesting is, guess who bought it? In 2020, Delivery Hero, our favorite German company, went ahead and bought it. And it's like so interesting because I'm like, damn, like Delivery Hero has been like, to me, it's almost stealing. They've been doing this for a while now. They took Hunger Station, then they decided to take Talabat, and then they took InstaShop later. It's like they're literally like, you know what? We're just cutting down our competitors. You're not going to be our competitor.
They're the Mark Zuckerberg and Meta of the delivery world. Delivery Hero. Meta, whenever they want to build an app, instead of building it, they just buy an app. They bought WhatsApp, they bought Instagram. I think they're like that. But yeah, at least what I've realized that under Delivery Hero, obviously Delivery Hero in their own country, they're not the greatest one. They're one of the greatest. But what they've done with all these brands is they've taken them under their ownership. They've built them strong enough. So I really want to appreciate them for the marketing. Talabat marketed well. The IPO was like best in the world. I think it was the biggest tech IPO of last year.
And by the way, Talabat is actually the leading e-commerce app in the UAE. In the UAE, it is the #1 app. But I think for me, with the fact that, you know, Delivery Hero is just buying everything, for some people it might rub them off the wrong way because it's like, this is like Middle Eastern money that the Germans are just getting. Yeah,
it's a very, to be honest, it's a very open secret. It's a secret, but it's an open secret that all these big platforms from Europe, whenever they come and buy a business,
Yeah.
and they see that the business is doing so well, it's to pay off their debts in their own country. It's not a deal that we'll grow this Middle Eastern brand into something big. It's that, we're coming, we'll buy this brand. It's a very nice brand. It's making a lot of money. So yeah, we'll take some of the money and pay our debts in our
No,
country.
but like, just back to Al Jasimi, I think that, for me, it stood out to me that Ninja became a unicorn in just 3 years. And, this is somebody with so much experience, clearly, in this field. The fact that he grew Hunger Station and then he sold it and then now he has a new company with these other co-founders. I think it's going to be really exciting to see what they do.
Yeah, and there is another example. Rich introduced me to the guy, Abdul Aziz Al-Loghani. He was the founder of Talabat, and then now he has a
Wait,
floor.
Majid, you met him?
No, introduced as in he told me that there is this guy who was there. And I thought like Talabat was a local startup, but actually it started in Kuwait, I think. And now he also has a flower delivery startup, Flowward. So all these guys in the Middle East, they've started something, they've sold the business, and they've turned and made their own businesses as well.
But by the way, Majid, what's something that Flowward has done that many people have thought, okay, let me make this a business, but then realized Flowward does it? Basically, have you ever thought like, okay, why can't I have like an app, and on this app, I put people's birthdays, I put their birthdays, and I put their locations, and on these days, the app will basically send them flowers, and it will charge. So it just does it. It just does it very normally, and it takes care of it. Flowward does that.
I think the biggest market for them will be men, because we are very famous for forgetting birthdays and anniversaries, especially me, that I am the case in point.
I think you need to use Flowward.
Yeah,
it's pretty
I will
good.
start using, again, supporting local startups. But it's a very nice story that we have one more unicorn from the region. Very nice to know that it's a Q-commerce platform, because in UAE we have Noon, which is trying to become $1 billion giant. We have Talabat working here. InstaShop is now under Talabat. Very difficult and complicated web of everything happening. But at the end of the day, me, Worth, and you guys basically take advantage of this, because then delivery prices go down. Because if I'm ordering like something chai paratha for 12 dirhams and giving 10 dirhams on delivery charges on that looks very weird. But as soon as you have more competition, the more
prices
competition
are going to
comes,
start
the prices
going
are
down.
going to go down.
Remember that Chinese company that came to Saudi?
Meituan is the parent company and Kita is the delivery platform.
Kita, they just lowered the prices completely.
It's like 1.5, 2 dirhams for delivery, and the same Hunger Station and Jahez are charging 5 or 6 riyals. So Kita is literally like, okay, we'll charge you very less.
That is
but it's
crazy.
a very
But you know what it also
rampageous
is
kind
with
of-
pricing, Majid? Sometimes when the price is too low, I'm not going to lie to you, as a consumer, I get suspicious.
Yeah.
So
That,
it does.
will it come, will it
might-
not come on time?
Exactly. Or like, is my food going to be normal?
Yeah.
But anyways, that's a wrap for today, everyone. We have a special interview that is coming right now, so stay tuned. Today on the show, we are joined by Munira Rahman, Chief Marketing Officer of Al Haramain Perfumes, a globally acclaimed perfume house founded in the UAE back in 1970. Munira isn't just leading the marketing for one of the region's most iconic fragrance brands. She's breaking barriers as a Bangladeshi woman in an industry long dominated by men. Munira, it's so lovely to have you today. So just to start, so your story is incredibly inspiring. And what I want to know is, can you take us back to the beginning? What first drew you to the world of fragrance?
Actually, it's a very funny story. I'm a very simple person. I love just one perfume all the way down. What drew me into the fragrance industry is because I just thought of like helping with my father was because I was very good at marketing. So I went into the industry thinking, okay, I'm going to help him out, sort it out, do the marketing and see. And then suddenly I just fell into it deeper and deeper and deeper. The notes, the fragrances, the personalities of people, what they really like, and how people were like so like enthusiastic about this thing. And I was like, oh, it's more to just a scent that you're putting on, you know? It's more about the personality. It's more about like how people define themselves. It's a character. You wear it and they know it. You You could have the strong one with like, looking at a businesswoman, the lighter one looking like a very cute little girl going around the town. So I started learning about all of the fragrances and understanding the notes, understanding what defines. And that's exactly why I got into it more and more and more.
But what I'm so curious about is like, what was the defining moment? Like, this was the moment where you decided, okay, I'm in.
So my defining moment would be the minute I curated a scent, worked through it with the whole bottling, the packaging, and just seeing how people went out in the market, in the kind of consumers you had, the customers that you have, went crazy about it. When you're at the processing, the production, and the end game, and then you see how people are like can resonate, can relate. That's exactly what I felt like. I'm good at this. I think I should do more of it.
And being a Bangladeshi woman leading in a traditionally male-dominated sector, what personal values or life experiences shape the resilience and the vision that you're leading today?
So that's a very touchy subject. I would say it's very difficult because a lot of women, especially, and by the way, if you come with that cultural setback as well, because of Bangladeshi, you should get a lot of cultural setback beginning from the family times, because the end goal is marriage, and there is no career, there's no future. It's not about your future should be your kids and your husband, right? I believe like when the setbacks kick in and you're working so hard towards everything, you're looking for those validations, you're looking for those appreciations. And I believe like if you're starting it at home, which I always say, like, if I wish there are more families who can support their children, because it's already very difficult being a woman and being in a business world. It's already very difficult. We're already trying to break so many norms and so many barriers and and the societal expectations. And I always say, like, if you give her the right kind of validation, the push, the support at home, she can fight even more fiercely there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get exactly what you mean.
Because if it's already difficult here, then she's going out there, it's even more difficult there. So it was like, I would say it's such a changing moment for myself to survive this and this. And and I'm still surviving this. And I'm still surviving that too, but it's just like, you have to keep pushing yourself. And I would say like, I only get those validations when I have so many women like, sending me DMs. How are you doing it? What are you doing? How did you manage it? How did you convince your family? How did you convince to do this? How did you push yourself through that? And I always say, like, if you really can't help yourself, I can't help you, and that's where you have to do that.
Ooh,
you have to help yourself. You have to say that I'm going to do this today, no matter what comes the way. Could be anybody. And when you need that push, I'm standing right outside the door. I'm there. I'm there to help you and guide you and take you to the right path. But I can't come and take you out of your home. But you have to decide, if you leave that, you have to be responsible. You have to be strong to face it. That's what I would say.
And I'm so curious about something. You said that, support from home is so important 100%. And that not many people get it.
Yeah.
At home, who is that role model for you? And, who really pushed you to make the brand as big as it is today?
Nobody.
Oh.
Yeah.
I see.
That's the truth. Nobody.
Okay.
I went, worked, claimed my position. I claimed it by working and showing results. Because I'm the oldest daughter in the house. And all my other sisters are married. And yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is really powerful.
Yeah.
I feel like that's so interesting, because often with people who are extremely successful, we often assume that there's somebody who is behind this or is pushing this, but the vice versa could happen, where because of the lack thereof of that motivation, you want to basically do more.
Yes.
And I completely understand it. And it's like, you're currently the only woman heading a company in this space. I want to know, like, what does that responsibility feel like? You said that it still has difficulties in it. These
100%,
difficulties have
because
always
people
existed.
don't take you seriously because you're a woman. People just don't take you seriously. And the thing is, being a brown woman, and in that industry, if you look at the GCC countries especially, the kind of perfume industry that is, there's not a single woman running anything, but you will see my face everywhere for Al Haramain. I'm running it. I'm doing it. I'm there for the events. I'm there for the exhibitions. I'm there. I'm the face there because that's the way I present myself. Is because I have learned so hard in a hard way that I've come so far. So for me, it's just like it is so difficult even sometimes because I know that I'm going to be working really hard. I know what I'm doing, but the thing is, a lot of people have self-doubts because really, girl, woman, do you think so?
But how do you prove them wrong, though?
By showing them what I'm doing with the company.
Your results.
My
Yeah.
results are what it is. The way I'm marketing, the way the revenue is, the way everything is, the way people are actually going out before they used to. This is something a really nice moment for me when my dad's name is Muhammad, so it's like Muhammad's daughter Munira, and now people are like, oh, that's Munira's father, Muhammad.
Oh, I see the change in narrative that happened there.
Yeah.
But-
So that's the changing moment. That's when it's like you know you're doing the right thing because you have all this. I have the fan following on my Instagram. I have the people like messaging, all the influencers that I have conversations with the perfume. We are going on these exhibitions. The kind of clientele we have, the kind of distributors we have. So it's just that's the difference.
And you mentioned how the revenue of the company is doing great. Can you tell us more about the business performance of Al Haramain Perfumes?
So we have actually expanded, like massively. So we started off from Saudi Arabia, and then all our stores were in just GCC. Our factory is in Ajman here, and we were just in like the Asia and GCC, and that's it. Because of the background of South Asian, right? So you have like the Asia and the GCC, and that's it. What we started working on is distributing in Europe. Now we have an office in UK. We are working in South America, North America. We are now, inshallah, we're planning to go next month to Australia. So we are expanding as much as we can. So this is what we are doing. My whole idea is to be available and be there and known as a brand that has come down from the roots of the Middle East and making it this far.
And what's been the most rewarding part of this entire journey?
I would say the most rewarding part, like it's a very personal reward that I would believe, that I would like to say. I get the money, I get the work, I get the profile. The most rewarding thing is that kind of validation that I had for myself, and I knew I was enough, and how I could work with so many other women. And the most rewarding I would be like how women look up to me. And I think it's just like, for me, it's like just break the barrier. If you know, be stubborn, do it, And I think that is the most rewarding part. Like the people who come back and tell me, I saw this and I wanted to do this. Do you think so? I was like, you should go ahead. That's the rewarding part because you are an example. You become a role model. And I think that is the most rewarding part that I could ever imagine being from Bangladesh.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And what I want to know is, you mentioned a lot how you had to go through this alone. Is there any kind of support system or anything that you basically use to keep you going?
So I have lovely friends. I have very good close friends. I was brought up here, so I have very, very nice friends here. My niece is my absolute cheerleader. She's like, I'm proud of you, I love it. Every award, I go to her first, and she's like, I'm so proud of you. And she's like 6. So these are my support system. This is what I look forward to. My friends are always, my close friends are always there. They're always like, Munira, you got this. Or I'll get these messages, did you hydrate? Did you eat?
Aww,
I hope you're eating. I hope you're sleeping well. And I love that. I absolutely love that. My brother has been a bit supportive as well. My brother has been around because he has his own perfume company. So he's seeing what I'm doing with this company too. And he's very proud of me. And I love that. My brother and his wife.
And the fragrance industry in the GCC is both heritage rich and fiercely competitive. What unique opportunities and challenges do you see as a leader in the market?
Okay, so what I am doing right now with the company is rebranding it. So it's Al Haramain Perfume since 1970. We're keeping the heritage. We're keeping our logo. If you see it, it's like the Haram Sharif. It's all the way from Mecca because we started there. That was our first store. So no matter what happens, and my dad has clearly said, if I'm here, I'm not here. that store, if it's in profit or loss, I don't care. It has to be there because
That's
that was
so
my
interesting. So
that's
even
my
if it's-
starting point.
Even if it's in loss, you're still going to keep the
Yeah,
store open.
We are not going to let it go because that was our starting point. We should never forget our roots. That's the whole point. The where you started and how you've come this far and from where. And that's what Saudi Arabia in Mecca.
And what I'm so curious about is, you mentioned your roots. How do you maintain those roots while still innovating?
Okay, so what we work in is with the trend. So we just do not completely focus on like just Arabic perfumes. We have the changing with Arabic with French because everyone wants Oriental. Everyone wants something different. Everyone wants we have even created places like Dubai Night. If you smell that one, you know it. It's Dubai, and it's Dubai Night because you know what's the vibe in Dubai in the night. We have the Aqua Dubai, which is in the morning, people in the pool, all these places when you go to these pool places for these brunches. So we have everything still kept our heritage, our traditions. Like we have the Ither, we have the Ather, we have the Agarud, We've not let go of our roots. We've kept those which are actually the base, most of our base notes of our perfumes. So you can smell it, but it's again modern. With the whole packaging and the bottling, it's completely modern. But when you smell it, you're just like, oh, it's like you're reminiscing.
Yeah, and this is what I'm so curious about. I feel like, since they're constantly shifting, and especially in the Middle East, and I want to know how is the brand fitting into that?
I'm sorry, come again.
I'll repeat it again.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry. Global perception of Middle Eastern perfume,
Yes.
it's completely changing. And I want to know, how do you guys specifically fit into that?
Okay, so this is something, because we have so many other perfume companies, right? First of all, it's so saturated. Everybody's becoming a perfumer now. Everybody is also a perfume, fragrance influencer as well. Everybody wants to do on fragrance.
Oh, this is so true.
Everybody's become a fragrance influencer as well, because what happens is no one realizes the market actually of oud, which now we have other really big brands started since 10 years, like Tom Ford, Louis Vuitton. They've started 10 years now, right? We have been here, the heritage of oud has been here. So how do we fit in? We actually adapt to what our audience needs. What's our market? What's the age? What's the value of our product? Can it curate to everybody? So we have all the way from 50 dirhams to all the way for 500 dirhams, 800 dirhams, 1,000 dirhams. So anybody could afford it. So they don't feel left out, you know what I mean? And I think evolving with the trend is how you do it. Where is your market moving? What are the statuses? What are the people who can use it? Who can everybody afford it?
Yeah. That is such a good question, because I feel like generally perfume is so expensive, and when you can find a product that is long lasting and everyone can buy, that's so important, which brings me to my point of, a part of the company, why is it important for you that everyone can get this perfume?
It's so important, I think, because for us it's valuing your clients, valuing your customer. You have to value them. You don't want to lose them because you're famous now and then you're putting up like a 600 dirham perfume or 800 dirhams, You don't want to do that. You don't want to. Those people are, I believe in this too. You climb the ladder, you saw all of them on the way. It's okay, I think we have enough space. All of us can fit. I don't think so we have to climb over someone's shoulder and get there.
That is so deep.
I think there's so much space for everybody, and that's why I have nothing against any fragrance companies or anything. I'm friends with all of them, by the way. We all sit down together, go to exhibitions, chill, have lunch together.
Would you say you're here to compete?
No. I don't think so. I don't want to compete. I think I want to make a huge family where everyone fits in. And it's okay. And it's okay for someone going ahead. It's okay if someone's back. I think if someone's at the back, you give them the right advice to help them move forward. The more you help, the more you're looked out for too.
That's so, and has there ever been a point where you would say someone helped you out?
So many times.
Really?
I never thought about it. Very simple thing. I could never think I could, I would help as much as I can in smallest way possible with food, with clothes, with anything. And there was a turning point in my life where I had none of it. There was a turning point when I decided to start my entire life from scratch, and I had nothing, zero, zilch. I just had a pair of pajamas. And then how it reciprocated in so many different ways. Like, I was just like, wow, because it hits you. You help this person once, and the other person, you just come to this this place, and this person's like, hey, do you remember me? I do have your clothes that you have given me.
Wow.
And then you're just thinking, when did I do that? Because you're so in this world, and you're doing and you're giving. And I'm like a giver, so I'm like giving, not necessarily seeing that if I'm receiving. I'm not in the receiving end most of the time. But when this happened with me, I was in the situation when I was receiving, and I was just like, wait, what's happening? That's the result of you giving for that long.
Wow. So you think it's important, like, as a business owner, that you're helping your competitors, because one day they'll step in and help you too.
100%.
That is so interesting.
100%. Be there to support them. I sit down sometimes in their booth and I go like, I really like this scent, but if you change this, maybe it'll be better.
Yeah, I don't think I've heard this before.
Yeah, I've always done. I've sat down and had business deals with them too, in their a booth, and I've also slid in my business card once I've done it, and they all just laugh about it because they're like, she's so sweet. Like I sit down. I whenever, like, for me, whenever we are traveling, this is something. Like, I'm going and getting food, like, I love it because other people are working and everything. And I see that my job over here, my people are working and they're doing these meetings. I don't mind stepping out and getting lunch for them. I go and grab lunch for them. And when I grab lunch for them, I don't forget that I have friends from the other booths too. I grab lunch for everyone. I'm like, I think we all should take a break. I think we've done enough for today.
Wow.
Yeah, and I believe in it. I completely believe in it, especially feeding people. I love, like, if you're coming to my house, I'm going to be feeding you and feeding you and feeding you.
And I'm just so curious about something, Munira. Your brand, it's been founded in Saudi Arabia,
Yeah.
and you guys have Bangladeshi roots. And you've told me how you guys have maintained, Middle Eastern
Yes.
roots in the perfumes. How have you managed to maintain your Bangladeshi roots in the perfumes? That is something I'm really curious about.
I think just the presence. I think our presence and the way we are connected. My dad is very, very well known, one of the biggest businessmen within the Bangladeshi community. Like, he's very well respected for taking it out and making it there. He's known for that. And for me, I'm on the other side of the women. For the women to break your barrier, even if it's at home, do it. And work through it. And, it doesn't matter. End of the day, there will be results. There will be. Maybe in your own eyes, you feel proud of yourself that I picked myself up today. That's it. That's it you need to do. And I feel like we do have those roots back in our company as well, because we have almost 70 to 75% of our staff is Bangladeshi. So we give back too.
Wow.
Yeah, we take them in and we give back too. They're working with us.
And what would you say is the rate of women in your company?
It was really low until I stepped in.
Okay.
Okay. Half of my department is girls now. It's women. Like, the marketing department is women. Like, I would say half, yeah. But the ratio was really low. It was really low because I think it was such a male-dominated, just not the industry, it's just the company was also very male-dominated. It's my father running it. My brother was in the company too. So there's so many things. It was just only men. So they would I think it was much easier to work with men because I think the mentality needed to change a bit. So for me, I believe in it too, because so what I do is now I love this, that I actually do university drives. So end of the year, going on to these universities, because in Dubai, I've noticed something. A lot of people don't get jobs because you need experience, you need this, you need that. So what I do is we work closely with Ajman and Sharjah universities, where we take in the freshmen. We go into the school. They have interviews with us, say from any department in the company. We take them in, and they get 6 months of internship. And if they're doing really well, and if they like the company, I ask them to stay. If they want to go, that's fine, but at least they have 6 months of internship somewhere where they have the experience already before hitting a great job. So they have a job for them. That's in Al Haramain.
Oh my God, you mentioned such an interesting point there, by the way. I asked them to stay when they like the job.
Yes.
And I think that is such a good point, because it's like you have some people sometimes who are really good at something, but they don't like it.
Yeah.
And I think I love the fact that you can acknowledge and, this person was great, they don't like it, that's fine. They can go on to do bigger things.
Exactly. Of course, because the more you put people in the jobs and places where they're not fit, you yourself as a leader will never get results. You'll never get results if they're not happy with their job. And if you're not a good leader, they're not getting the results. What's the point of me wasting their time and my time and doing this, but when they're not even happy in the job? I would never, like for me, I always make sure I ask them, you happy? Yeah, I'm happy, ma'am. Okay, that's it. And I have become like, I think empathy is so important as a leader. And I'm a very, very empathetic person, because their problems become my problems, their feelings become my feelings. And I sit down and I'm that person, like, if you're not happy, tell me why. What can I do to change this?
But do you think that having too many feelings sometimes can harm business?
In the long run, no. Maybe for now. And it's okay. If you're an understanding person, I think it's okay.
Really?
For you to have human connections.
Okay.
I think human connections is very important. I believe that. I'm no disrespect to any other businessman or woman. I believe you need to have those connections, because maybe many times what happens is like a lot of things can come up and down in the business, right? And then what if they go like, oh, I don't want to work here anymore because you didn't even see me anyway, so why does it matter? Because it's not doing well, I'm out. But what if you had that human connection? And they say, you know what, but she's always been there for me.
So you think that human connection
It's
basically
very
breeds
important.
loyalty?
Yes, important. That you're being loyal to their feelings, you're being loyal to them as a person, you're being supportive as a leader, you're pushing them for better, and you want to see them excel, And I'm the person like, I believe if you're doing something great, I think you can be the greatest. And I always tell them, I'm like, you have so much potential, do it. And for me, if I see this person is going to go move ahead and be greater at this business, I'm the one giving the recommendation. Like, go. I think you're not made for this industry, maybe that industry. And I see you do it,
And for our final question.
Yes.
Tell us what's next. What's next for the company? Is there anything exciting that's coming up?
A lot more exciting stuff is coming. You have to stay tuned for that because I can't say it. But yes, a lot more exciting stuff is coming up. We are pushing further. We are going higher, inshallah. And we're hoping it's a successful year this year. This year is going to actually finish in a bang, which is going to be something that I'm looking forward to share with the world when it's time.
And I'm so excited to see that. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. This is Munira Rahman for you, and that's a wrap for today. Thank you so much for tuning into the Smashy Business Show. Make sure to follow us across all our social media channels at Smashy Business, and stay ahead with our daily newsletter. You'll find the subscription link in the description. This has been a Smashy Business Show, a Smashy Business production, part of the Augustus Media Podcast Network.